Hey guys, what's up? Told you I'll be back soon, as in a couple minutes later. I don't know, just thought I might as well go ahead and start this sucker. By the way, I noticed when watching my intro video that I touched my hair way too fucking much. But that's okay. I'm just acknowledging it. I'm also acknowledging my really shitty quality of video, but you know, I'm on my laptop camera because my phone camera is even shittier. But like I said, that's okay because I'm too broke for this shit. But yeah, just acknowledging what everyone was thinking, okay? God. Okay, but to start us off, like I said, I'm going to be reading a little bit. Hey there. So the first novel I'm going to start off, I'm so sorry that I read very, very long books. There's going to be several parts to this. But it's whatever. Okay, so the first book I selected is Needful Things by Stephen King. It is a doozy, but it's one of my favorite books of all time, and I really, really wanted to share this book with my boyfriend. But, you know, I have it, he don't, and, you know, sending packages is fucking expensive. And this way he can just set the video on and listen to it, and anyone else who's interested in not actually reading the book themselves. But you should, because it's great, and I love it. It's perfect. It's not perfect, but it's fucking good. Okay. So, we're going to start. This is just going to be short little beginning to it. I don't plan on reading too much today, because like I said, I already did a video, and plus, I'm getting shit together, because I'm moving tomorrow, and God knows I'm not even close to ready. But it's just a little taste. Okay. And this is the preference, by the way. We might go a little bit into chapter 1. See. Okay. Needful Things by Stephen King. You've been here before. Sure you have. Sure. I never forget a face. Come on over here, let me shake your hand. Tell you something. I recognize you by the way you walk, even before I saw your face. You couldn't have picked a better day to come by Castle Rock. Ain't she a corker? Hunting season will be starting soon. Fools out in the woods banging away at anything that moves, and don't wear blaze orange and when it comes to snow and sleet. But that's all for later. Right now, it's October, and in the Rock, we let October stay just as long as she wants to. As far as I'm concerned, it's the best time of year. Spring's nice here, but I'll take October over May every time. Western Maine's a part of the state that's mostly forgotten once the summer has run away, and all those people in their cottages on the lake and up on the view have gone back to New York and Massachusetts. People here watch them come and go every year. Hello, hello, hello. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. It's good when they come, because they bring all their city dollars, but it's good when they go, because they bring their city aggravations too. It's aggravations I mostly want to talk about. Can you sit a spell with me? Over here on the steps by the bandstand will be fine. The sun's warm, and from here, spraying in the middle of the town common, we can see just all of downtown. You want to mind the splinters, that's all. The steps need to be sanded off, then repainted. That's Hugh's priest's job. But Hugh ain't got around to it yet. He drinks, you know. It's not much of a secret. Secrets can and are kept in Castle Rock. We have to work mighty hard to do it, and most of us know it's been a long time since Hugh Priest had hard work were on good terms. What was that? Oh, that. Say, boy, ain't that a piece of work? Them flyers is up all over town. I think Wanda Hempfield, her husband Don, runs the post and handed it to me. Her husband Don runs Hemfield Market, put most of 'em up all by herself. Put off the post and hand it to me. Don't be shy. No one's got any business sticking up flyers on the town common bandstand in the first place. Hot damn! Will you just look at this thing? Dice and the Devil printed right up at the top, and big red letters with smoke coming off of 'em, like these things was mailed special delivery from Tophet. Ha! Someone who didn't know what a sleepy little place this town was would think we really going to the dogs, I guess. But you know how things sometimes get blown out of proportion in a town this size? And the Reverend Willie's got a bee under his blanket for sure this time. No question about it. Churches in small towns. Well, I guess I don't have to tell you how that is. They get along with each other. Sort of. But they ain't really happy with each other. Everything will go along peaceful for a while, and then a squabble will break out. Pretty big squabble this time, though, and a lot of hard feelings. The Catholics, you see, are planning something they call Casino Night at the Knights of Columbus Hall on the other side of town. Last Thursday of the month, I understand, with the profits to help pay for repairs to the church roof. That's Our Lady of Serene Waters. You must have passed it on the way into town. If you came by the Castle View, pretty little church, ain't it? Casino Night was Father Brigham's idea, but the Daughters of Isabel are the ones who really picked up the ball and ran with it. Bestie Vig in particular. I think she likes the idea of dolling up in a wheel and saying, "Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Please place your bets." But they all kind of like the idea, I guess. It's only nickel and dime stuff, harmless, but it seems a wee bit wicked to him just the same. Except it don't seem harmless to Reverend William. And it seems a lot more than a wee bit wicked to him and his congregation. He's actually the Reverend William Rose, but he never liked Father Brigham much, nor does the Father have much use for him. In fact, it was Father Brigham who started calling Reverend Rose Steamboat Willie, and Reverend Willie knows it. Sparks have flown between those two particular witch doctors before, but this casino night business is more than a little sparks. I guess you could call it a brush fire. When Willie heard that Catholics had to spend the night gambling at the K&C Hall, he just about hit the roof with the top of his pointy little hat. He paid for those dice and devil flyers out of his own pocket, and Wanda Hemfield and her sewing club buddies put 'em up everywhere. Since then, the only place the Catholics and Baptists talk to each other is in the letter columns in our little weekly paper, where they rave and rant and tell each other they're going to hell. Look at down there, you'll see what I mean. That's Nan Roberts, who just came out of the bank. She owns Nan's Luncheonette, and I guess she's just about the richest purchase in town, now that old Pop Merrill's gone to that big flea market in the sky. Also, she's been a Baptist since Hecker was a pup. And coming the other way is Big Al Gerard. He's so Catholic he makes a Pope look kosher. And his best friend is Irish Johnny Brigham. Now watch close. See their noses go up? Ain't that a stench? I bet you dollars to donuts that the temperature dropped 20 degrees where they passed by each other. It's like my mom used to say, people can't have fun with anyone anymore, except for the horses, and they can't. Now look at over there. You see sheriff cruisers parked by the curb near the video shop? That's John LaPointe inside. He's supposed to be keeping an eye out for speeders. Downtown's a go-slow zone, you know, especially when school lets out. But if you shade your eyes and look real close, you see that what he's really doing is staring at a picture he took out of his wallet. I can't see it from here, but I know just what it is just as well as I know my mother's maiden name. That's the snapshot Andy Clutterbuck took of John and Sally Radcliffe at the Freiburg State Fair just a year ago. John's got his arm around her in the picture, and she's holding the stuffed bear he won for her at the shooting gallery, and they both look so happy they could just about split. But that was then, and this is now. Now, they say, These days, Sally is engaged to Lester Pratt, the high school physical ed teacher. He's a true blue Baptist, just like herself. John hasn't gotten over the shock of losing her yet. See him fetch that sign? He's worked himself into a pretty good case of the blues. Only a man who's still in love, or thinks he is, can fetch a slide that deep. Troubles and aggravations mostly made up of ordinary things. Did you ever notice? And dramatic things. Let me give you a for instance. Did you see the fellow going by the courthouse steps? No, not the man in the suit. That's Dan Keaton, our head selectman. I mean the other one, the black guy the work fatigues. That's Eddie Warburton, the night shift janitor at the municipal building. Keep your eye on him for a few seconds, and watch what he does. There. You see him pause on the top step and look up street? I bet you more dollars to donuts that he's looking at the Sunco station. The Sunco is owned and operated by Sonny Jacket, and there had been bad blood between the two of them ever since Eddie took his car there 2 years ago to get the train drive looked at. I remember that car quite well. It was a Honda Civic, nothing special about it. Except it was special to Eddie, because it was the first and only brand new car he's ever owned in his life. And Sonny not only did a bad job, he overcharged it for it in the bargain, and that's Eddie's side of the story. Warburton was just using his color to see if he can beat me up over the repair bill. That's Sonny's side of the story. You know how it goes, don't you? Well, so Sonny Jacket took Eddie Warbuckers to small claims court, and there was some shouting first in the courtroom and then in the hall outside. Eddie and Sonny called him a stupid nigger, and Sonny said, well, I don't call him a nigger, but the rest is true enough. In the end, neither one of them were satisfied. Judge made Eddie cough up $50, which Eddie said was $50 too much, and Sonny said it wasn't anywhere near enough. Then the next thing you know, it was electrical fire in Eddie's new car, and the way it ended was that Eddie's Civic went off to the junkyard out to town road number 5. And now Eddie's driving an '89 Oldsmobile, which blows oil. Eddie never quite gotten over the idea that Sonny Jacket knows a lot more about that electrical fire than he's told. Boy, people have more fun than anybody, except horses, and they can't. Ain't it all just more than you think take on a hot day? It's just a small town, though. Call it Peyton Place or Grover's Corner or Castle Rock. It's just folks eating pie and drinking coffee and talking about each other behind their hands. There's Sloppy Dodd, all by his lonesome because the other kids make fun of his stutter. There's Myrtle Keaton, and she looks a bit lonely and bewildered, as if she's not really sure where she's going or what she's going on. It's because her husband, fellow you just saw coming up the court steps behind Eddie, hasn't seemed himself for the last 6 months or so. See how puffy her eyes are? I think she's been crying. Or not sleeping well. Or both, don't you? And there goes LaRon Potter, looking like she just stepped out of a bandbox, going to the Western Otter, no doubt, to see if her special organic fertilizer came in yet. That woman has got more kinds of flowers growing out of her house than Carton has liver pills. Awful proud of 'em, she is. She ain't got a great favor with the ladies in town. They think she's snooty with her flowers and her moody beads and her $70 Boston perms. They think she's snooty, and I'll tell you a secret, since we're sitting here by the side of the splintery band steps. I think they're right. All ordinary people, I guess you can say, but not all our troubles in Castle Rock are ordinary. I got to say you straight on that. No one has forgotten Frank Dodd, the crossing guard who went crazy here about 12 years ago and killed those women. And they haven't forgotten the dog either, the one who came down with rabies and killed Joe Chamber and the other rummy down the road from him. The dog killed good old Sheriff George Bannerman, too. Alan Pangborn is doing that job these days, and he's a good man, but he won't ever snack up to Big George in the eyes of the town. Nothing ordinary was about what happened to Reginald Pop Merrill either. Pop was a good miser. He used to run the town junk shop. The Emporium Gallorum, it was called, stood right where the vacant lot is across the street. The place burned down a while ago, but there are people in town who saw it, or claim they did anyway, who will tell you after a few beers down at the Mill of Tiger that it was more than a simple fire that destroyed the Emporium Gallorum and took Pop Merrill's life. His nephew Ace says something spooky happened to his uncle before the fire, like something out of the Twilight Zone. Of course, Ace wasn't around when his uncle bit the dust. He was finishing a 4-year stretch at the Shawshank prison for breaking and entering in the nighttime. People always knew Ace Merrill would come down to a bad end. When he was in school, he was one of the worst bullies this town had ever seen. There must have been 100 kids who crossed the far side of the street when they saw Ace coming towards them, with buckets and zippers on his motorcycle jacket, jiggling and the cleats on his engineer boots clocking along the sidewalk. Yet people believed him, you know? Maybe there really was something strange that happened to Pop that day. Or maybe it was just more talk and old Nan over all the cups of coffee and the slabs of pie. It's the same here as where you grew up, most likely. People getting het over religion, people carrying torches, people carrying secrets, people carrying grudges. And even a spooky story every now and then. Like what might or might not have happened at the day Pop died in his junk shop to liven up the occasional dull day. Castle Rock is still a pretty nice place to live and grow, as our sign you'll see when you come into this town says. The sun shines pretty on the lake and on the leaves of the trees. On a clear day you can see all the way up to Vermont from the top of Castle View. The summer people argue over the Sunday paper, and there is the occasional fight in the parking lot of the Mellow Tiger on Friday or Saturday night. Sometimes both. The people always go home and fight always end. The Rock has always been one of those good places where people can get scratchy. You know what we say. We say he'll get over it or she'll get over it. Henry Beaufort, for instance, is sick of Hugh Priest kicking the rockola when he's drunk. But Henry will get over it. Wilma Jenkins and Nettie Cobb are mad at each other. But Nettie will get over it. Probably. And being mad is just a way of life for Wilma. Sheriff Pagborn's still mourning his wife and younger child, who died untimely. And it was a sure enough tragedy. But he'll get over it with time. Polly Clamore's arthritis isn't getting any better. In fact, it's getting worse. A little at a time. And she may not get over it, but she'll learn to live with it. Millions have. We bump up against each other every now and then, but mostly things go along alright. Or always have until now. But I'll tell you a real secret, my friend. It's mostly why I called you over here once I saw you were back in town. I think trouble. Real trouble is on its way. I smell it just over the horizon, like out of the out-of-season storm full of lightning. The arguments between the Baptist and the Catholic over casino night, the kids who tease poor Slobby about his stutter, John LaPointe's torch, Sheriff Pagborn's grief. I think those things are going to look like pretty small potatoes next to what's coming. You see that building across Main Street? The one with 3 doors up from the vacant lot where the Emporium Gallorum used to stand? Got a green canopy in front of it. Yep, that one. The windows are all soaked over because it's not quite open yet. Needful things, the sign says. And now just what the dog does that mean? I don't know either, but that's where bad feelings seem to come from. Right there. Look up the street one more time. You see that boy, don't you? The one who's walking his bike and looks like he's having the sweetest daydream any boy ever had? Keep your eye on him, friend. I think he's the one who's going to get us started. No, I told you. I don't know what. Not exactly. But watch that kid. And stick around town for a little while, would you? Things just feel wrong. And if something happens, it would be just as well if there was a witness. I know that kid, the one pushing his bike. Maybe you do too. His name's Brian something. His dad installed sliding in doors over Oxford and South Paris, I think. Keep an eye on him, I tell you. Keep an eye on everything. You've been here before, but things are about to change. I know it. I feel it. There's a storm on the way. And that is the end of the preface. Damn, that was long. But I think I'll end the video there for today. And then tomorrow, maybe we'll start going into the actual novel. And we'll get to meet all the main characters and all that nonsense. And learn the plot line and themes and that kind of thing. Okay. You guys have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you later. Don't forget to subscribe down below. And ciao.